I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out.
So we're going to jump right in today. So today I'm here with Sunny Shar, that's correct? That's how you pronounce it?
Correct.
Yes, and April Lish.
Yep.
Haha, two names in one. And funny story about how we ended up here today. I schedule these interviews and I got really excited because I had two people who wanted to schedule on the same day, and that worked well for me because I only had to put on makeup once and, get ready. In fact, I even layered this morning thinking that I can look like I'm wearing two different outfits. And I arrived to work this morning and I have this email from April saying, your other interview is my sister. So that is so funny. I didn't know you were sisters. Tell me are there other siblings I should know about?
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Okay. So were you born and raised here in New Holstein, or?
Yep. Yes, we were.
Okay.
Yep, born and raised. I'm older.
You're older. April mentioned you're normally the one who's timely.
I am not. Normally.
I'm normally the one who's timely.
It was like 10:09 and I was like, I should leave already. I'm like, okay, it's up the street. You don't need to leave 21 minutes early.
I love that because I actually strongly subscribe to if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. So
right. I like to live by that theory too, but typically a little bit.
It doesn't work out in practice.
No.
So you've lived here your whole lives, went to school here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe you can take this one at a time. Did you leave, come back? What was your story about staying in New Holstein?
You go first. I never left.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated and started going to college and then started working at a nursing home as a CNA because I was going to go to school for nursing and then I just decided that wasn't for me. And then just stayed.
Yeah.
It always worked out that I had great jobs right here and I didn't have a reason to leave.
That's wonderful.
So, and I met my husband here too.
Okay.
We worked together in high school and he left for a little bit, but Appleton left, not really left, and then came back and.
Cool. So you went to high school, you attended high school with your husband as well?
Yep.
You knew each other then?
Yep, we worked together.
Did you have a crush on each other then?
I didn't know him until we started working together at Southtown.
Oh, okay. See, I'm from such a tiny town. You knew everyone 4 grades above and 4 grades below.
I knew of him because of church, because he was a grade older than me, but our paths didn't really cross until we started working together, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you?
I lived in Fond du Lac for a little bit during one of my 3 or 4 college stunts.
Oh, me too.
So I lived in Fond du Lac with some friends, and then on college round 3, I lived in St. Cloud because I was going to school in Fond du Lac and working at Schwartz's. So it was kind of that middle point. So I could go 15 minutes to school and 10 minutes to work and didn't have to keep crossing paths and stuff all day and stuff like that. So so I lived in St. Cloud for a handful of years and
then you came back for your current role?
Yep. I was working at the credit union already when I still lived in St. Cloud, and one morning I took a different way to work, with all the whole 3 different options. And I saw and I saw something, I was like, oh, I should really look at that. So then I moved back to Holstein. So
cool.
Yeah, it was just way more convenient. Go home at lunch and I'd have to go I used to sit at her house at lunch and which is all it's fine and all, but
it's so nice to be close to family like that.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny that I never knew you were sisters, and here we are, 2 different organizations. So you've lived here all those years. You have to have favorite things in the community. You're both connected with some different things, so I'd be interested in what your favorites are.
My favorites, we have great parks. Everyone says we have great parks. No one can deny that. One of my favorite events probably is the Holstein Picnic. I think Civic Park is so underutilized, so I just love seeing it come about for the weekend and activity and bustling. So that's probably one of my favorite events.
Yeah, that's a great answer. From here, we watch the setup develop, and it is exciting. There's this energy around, and I think even they get out that big crane and take an image of all of it, and it's
Yeah.
just the coolest community.
It will be
event.
like Sunday or Monday. I'm like, the trucks are in town.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you just watch it come about for the week. Like, it's exciting to
fun.
see because it's so it's a beautiful park, and it's just,
I agree.
the kids get to play it and stuff for school, which is great, but it's just so underutilized.
I agree. That, what's the word for that?
Bandstand.
Yeah, the bandstand thing. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why do we not have performers? That's another discussion.
We
Anyway.
might hit on that today.
I'm with Sunny. I really like the picnic. I like, we enjoy watching that together, and now my kids do too. Like, they look forward to it.
Yeah.
But I guess the other, I don't know, this is gonna kind of sound stupid, but where Quick Trip is, because that's where our dad's station was before Quick Trip
That doesn't sound stupid at all.
bought it. And so, I mean, there's a lot of memories on that corner for us because we grew up there.
Yeah.
We,
So
our
when you-
grandma lived there.
When you
so-
come out of Quick Trip, like, there was always like when it was a station, there was like the top and the bottom. And we would come in like the top driveway, and you'd come out the bottom because it was really hard to come out the top.
We never went on
So
the top.
so now the Quick Trip it's a little closer. It's not quite at where the top was, but it's closer. So it's kind of like that daring move. Like, as you come out, like,
Dad
you-
always told us
you-
you never go out the top, and
you're gonna get hit by a car coming around the corner.
Yep.
That
So,
is so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so was it weird watching that get built? And was that station still there right before they built it? Was
They
the
knocked it-
physical station still there,
Yep,
right?
they knocked
Yep.
it down and then built
Okay.
rather quickly, I would
Yeah, it
say.
was pretty quick. It sat empty for a little bit.
Yep, but
Yeah.
we watched
We
though the day
watched.
they took it down.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Was it emotional?
it was, but it wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a nice ending.
Yeah, it wasn't
Dad.
as bad as what we expected, because all of a sudden, like, she drove past and I was like, oh, I'm like, how was it? She's like, oh, not bad. I was like, okay, really? And she's like, not bad. So I'm like, well, come get me. So we sat by CRW and, like, we just watched. And we're like,
There goes Grandma's living room.
but
Oh my God.
it was the best thing. Like, it could have sat there empty and broken for years once he decided to retire.
Right.
So for him to be able to, lock the door the last time and walk away, and it didn't have to sit empty, broken windows, and
Yeah.
not an empty building.
Watch years of that
Yeah.
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
you get to watch progress. And
Yeah.
with
So
things like
it
that.
was good
It was
in
exciting.
that sense.
I mean, yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
didn't, like, that was our biggest fear, that we would just watch it sit, broken windows, overgrown, and
Absolutely.
that wasn't how it was. So that
Yeah.
was good. We were really happy to see that.
That is
Very
so
happy.
cool.
Yeah.
What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And I make fun of small towns, and I do it myself for, and this is all over America, but I think in Wisconsin we're really bad about it. Oh yeah, you just turn where Old Johnson's shop used to be.
Right.
I saw directions that said where someone shot the buck in the 50s.
Oh.
I'm not joking. On a community website, it was like, if you want to go see the elk herd, take a right where this person shot this buck in the 50s. Well, you have to be a real old timer to understand how to get there.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's now Quick Trip. You
Mhm.
take a right at Quick Trip, not at the shop.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I always ask, and I got interested about this morning once I knew you were sisters, if maybe you give each other book suggestions or read in the same vein, or if you're total opposites.
No.
No. Do you have favorite books?
I am a strong audiobook person.
Really?
I'm a strong audiobook person, so I use Libby a lot and Audible.
Cool.
I'm
so glad you used that.
I like memoirs,
Uh-huh.
like people's sad stories about their life.
Yeah. Like the Glass Castle.
Yes, love that one.
Ashes and
Yes,
like that.
love those. But then I also like Class Mom and You've Been Volunteered by Lori
Oh.
Gilman.
Okay.
I think because my kids, when that first came out, my kids were that age.
Uh-huh.
So it was like, oh yeah, I get this. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're
Yeah, I can belt out
opposites.
like a book in a day.
Yeah, it takes
Really?
me like
Oh,
3
yeah.
months.
Yeah.
And what's your style of reading?
I like Danielle Steele, Emily Giffin.
Okay.
I just read The Banker's Wife.
Who's that by?
Christina Elger. Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like realistic fiction though,
Yeah.
and you're more of a nonfiction. You like people's stories.
Yeah. Yep.
An all-time favorite?
You brought it up, but I did really enjoy The Glass Castle.
Yeah.
And then I
I
think
did too.
there was a follow-up to that too, like I think The Broken Horse or something like that from her sister's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, those I read really fast. I mean,
I never knew about the follow-up. That's so interesting.
it's
Because
something like that.
memoirs, to me, are so interesting because it's one person's
Yep.
assessment of what they're, perception. And so I always kind of question the authority of the voice. Is this
Mhm.
person telling? So I would gravitate more toward fiction or somebody else telling somebody's story.
Mhm.
Like nonfiction where when somebody tells their story, I'm like, I'm suspicious. But, so was the sister's
was-
perspective different?
A little bit because she was younger. So it was her older siblings that were taking care of her and stuff, and and then it got into like where their lives split. So it was interesting. I did that. We were on vacation, and I wasn't the one driving, so I listened to that. I think I listened to that whole book when we were gone. So it was good though.
You don't listen while you drive?
Not when
that
my
dangerous?
kids are in the car.
Yeah.
It depends on what we're listening to.
You don't want to get lost in the
Right,
dark.
right.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, that's funny.
yeah, and then I also really liked David Spade's books.
I love him.
I
He's so
I
fun.
really enjoyed his books. Those I listened to pretty fast too.
Yeah.
And he's the one. I like it when the author is the one reading to you, so you're hearing his voice
Yeah.
or the other people's voices, and you know that it's them. Like I really like that.
Check out for your kids Shel Silverstein doing any of his because he says it how he intended it when he wrote it, and he is so performative. I love it. But
Awesome.
cool. And did you say a favorite? I don't.
I'll read a book and like we could talk about it next week, and I'll be like, oh, I don't really remember that part of the book. I'm like, like I'm really into it when I read it, and all of a sudden, like to talk about it a few weeks later, I'm like, no, I can't remember. I'm like, I don't remember that.
I do that too. I do that, but I think it's maybe reading so many, and then I do find it like one every 2 years will hit me
Yes.
and stick with me.
I did the Daniel Steele. I really, really, really liked The Spy.
Okay. See, then if
Yeah.
you're remembering things, that's
Yeah.
in the
And then
list.
after reading The Banker's Wife, I'm like, well, maybe I do like a bit more of a mystery in a book than I realized I liked.
Oh,
I feel like
sure.
you've said that before.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
like the
Like
more
I
of a
wouldn't like go
mystery
grab a
thing.
mystery. Like I would never come in and be like, oh, I'm gonna grab a mystery. But like when I read a book that's mystery, I'm like, I really enjoy them.
Yeah,
Which I
that
should probably grab like a
plot-driven-
James Patterson or something, and then just try something
Just
different.
try something.
Yeah.
That's a librarian trick when
Yeah.
people come in and ask for books and they say they like, whatever, several authors, and then it's like, what do you like about it?
Yeah.
Is it the characters? Is it the way the plot moves? And so for you, maybe that underlying plot.
Right. And a lot of Danielle
Pushing.
Steele's, a lot of hers do go back a bit in history, a lot in
Mhm.
Europe and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Many of them.
Mhm.
So maybe there's more to it than like I really have ever thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. We can explore that.
Yeah.
You know,
I do use Libby. I do like Libby. I love Libby. Like I love adding stuff. Like I'll see like
Yep.
a book posted somewhere, or like we'll go like like Target or Barnes and Noble, and I'll look at all of it. I'm like, well, I'm not buying a book.
Right.
Sorry.
I feel the same with the librarian. They were not paid to say this stuff. but-
Right. Yeah. Like I'll buy the new Danielle Steele book. So there's I have to
Right.
wait too long for it. Like others I'm not like, and we pass that like my mom reads them, my aunt reads them, I have people at work who read them. So like
Yeah.
it just travels.
Right. That's what I started thinking about this morning. Like, if I'm interviewing sisters, are they going to have, like, you've shared.
I bet
these-
she's never read a Danielle Steele book in her life.
No, you and Mom read those, but that's not. I don't know that I've even ever tried.
Yeah.
You guys have talked about it. I'm like, I'm good. Maybe read
I
it
think
too.
I did, when I was younger, I tried a couple of times, but at that time, I think she was more like romance, and I wasn't really into.
Yeah. Some of them like there's times that like I do think because she's come out with a lot. Like she'll come out with probably the last 2 or 3 years she's come out with like 4 a year. It's too many for her. They're not good.
Yeah, I know. Because we purchase.
Yeah.
James Patterson is like one a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it just gets to a point like I'll read like, and I can usually like within the first few pages I'll be like, this isn't one of her. It's not one of her better ones.
Well, at that point, they're not. They have
Yeah.
ghostwriters, and maybe they're using the same formula as the original author, but it's certainly not the original.
Yeah, and I do- I have a
check.
checklist, and I'm actually going back, trying to recall if I've read all her books or not.
Mhm.
So I highlight the ones I know I've read, and the other ones I'm like, and there's times I've read them before, where else I'll be like reading a book, and also I'll get to like there'll be 10 pages left, and I'll be like,
I remember this.
I read this book before, but it takes until page 290
I
until
know.
it spurs, and I was like, so some of them like I'll start rereading. I'm like, nope, read it. So I'm trying to check off all of them to know if I've read all of them.
Yeah,
I'm pretty close, I'd say.
you can keep your reading history now as well. The library won't just do it by default, but you can keep your history of checkouts and stuff like that, which helps. a lot of our patrons who come in and say, did I read that one? And if we scan it, it will come up and say, no, they've already checked it out.
And I
And
think
you
I
can still check it out.
Right. I started reading like Danielle Steele and V.C. Andrew books at an age
Young.
that I probably should not have been reading
Yeah.
Danielle Steele and V.C. Andrew books.
You must be the exact same generation because I was reading V.C. Andrews way before I should have been.
Yeah.
Like the content, so not appropriate
Yeah.
for a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, I don't think I could read one now if I tried, but like,
Yeah.
the print's too small in those paperbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, that's too funny. Well, you guys are voracious readers, it sounds like. The only other kind of personal question I usually ask, and then we'll split off, is if you could sit down for a meal with anyone, past or present, who would it be and what would be served? And I need to know what would be served because I'm obsessed with food.
So we talked about this last
Did
night a
you?
little bit. We did. So
Did you coordinate your answer?
no, I really like her answer, and I hope that I would be invited along. But
your daughter would take it.
she probably would. I would do my Grandpa Shar and Grandma Hobuck because they passed away.
One? No, I'm just kidding.
Two. They're same, you know.
Okay.
They maybe two separate meals.
Mhm.
They passed away when I was like in third grade. So Sunny remembers them far more than I do, and because she's the oldest, she got more time with
Yeah.
with them. So I don't really remember, but I would have my grandma, our grandma, who is still living, her scalloped potatoes and ham because, and our mom makes it now, but I don't know. There's something about eating it in the bowls that grandma had and
Yeah.
the little Tupperware like dessert pudding cups.
Oh,
Yeah.
That she
I
had
love
too.
those
Yeah.
Like with the little stem and the little,
Yes.
yep, like that's what I would have watching Wheel of Fortune. Because that's what I remember
Yes,
it
I
on.
remember.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time at Grandma and Grandpa's house because our mom worked second shift and their house was attached to the station.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be uncommon for us to, I don't know, would we eat there? I don't really remember.
Just like after school.
After school or just
Yeah.
hanging out with Grandma and Grandpa too.
Yeah.
And well, the shop hours they were open 7, 8. Well, and they were way longer at different points in history too. But up until like at least when our grandpa was still alive, shop hours were 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. And that was if you walked out the door right away at 6 o'clock. If
Right.
someone didn't come for something or something wasn't broken, so
or come to chat.
or come to
Yeah.
chat. It was like the barber shop of like Naholsting.
Yeah.
What year did your dad retire?
2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Just
Yep.
okay. I think we.
19 November of 18,
18 or
19.
19.
What's his name?
Bruce
Bruce.
Shar?
Okay, I'm pretty sure when we first moved to town, we had a vehicle issue at very late, and we were one of those like last minute customers. My husband walked across town, went, and he was very helpful after
Right.
close, and like charged us almost nothing and got us going again.
Right. And it was just what they did. Like
Yeah.
they weren't
Yeah.
they didn't tell people, like they didn't say no.
Right.
Well, that might explain a lot.
Must be going down their part. Right. That's us.
Yeah, sorry to get that.
Yeah, so it would be
Yeah.
nothing for us. Like,
Mhm.
To spend time there.
yeah, and even like I remember like when we were, I don't even want to say little and stuff, but yeah, like my grandma would always make lunch, and like everyone would come in the house and eat lunch at the same time, and if like the bell rang that someone needed gas, they got up and went and got gas. So
Yeah.
it kind of carried through
I
for,
remember that just a little bit.
you know, for supper and stuff too. That like
Yeah.
it was very common for us to eat there.
Such a family business. Family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back in the day, way before our time, like when it would be, I don't know who told the story. It must have been Dad recently or something. Like in the Kumsey days and stuff, like if it would be really cold and like when second shift would get done, like they would just drive over there and just start starting cars. Because I mean, the cars didn't have the same abilities at the time, so
Sure.
they just didn't start as easy when it was cold
Oh
and
my
stuff,
gosh.
like in those
Isn't it-
frigid temperatures. So like that was
They just waited.
very common. And I mean, way back in the day, I bet it was open till 9 or 10 o'clock at
Yeah.
night. Like that was just how communities ran and stuff.
It's so funny because as you're saying these things, like I identify some of those traits in both of you, and separately,
Yeah.
still,
Mhm.
and not knowing you were sisters, but being like the never saying no,
Yeah.
always being
I
so
just realized that now. I was like,
community oriented. Your names
Yeah.
are attached to so many different things, and that is the real, like those types of stories are exactly what I love and value about communities, small
Right.
communities. Like we take care of each other. That's
Yeah.
what it's about. So that's so cool. I'm sorry that I just
That
Yeah.
took it way far.
yeah, I took your answer and then stole it. But yeah,
That's our history.
It's a
I
great
mean-
answer, and now I feel like I know even more why.
Yeah.
And then you have an answer that's apparently that she likes.
Yeah, it's way like hers is like oh it's so nice, and it is very very nice, and I love that. I kind of have the same answer, and I completely agree with her.
I hope we'd be invited to each other's.
I hope I can invite you. So I'm a huge Zach Brown fan, huge.
Okay.
Like
Is Zach Brown? He's a musician, right?
yep, country.
Okay.
Huge.
Dad with pop culture.
Yep. Like 17 concerts in.
Oh,
Like a friend of, like we went to a concert one time. We're like
In different countries.
yeah, we're like, this was really cool.
in different countries.
Well, Mexico.
Just Mexico, yeah.
You went to a Zach Brown concert in Mexico.
Yep.
You're like a super fan.
We might have been called groupies once or twice before. But for a way, like we like to travel, so it was a way for us to explore new cities
Totally makes
and
sense.
stuff, and have like a purpose to go there. To be like, oh, well, Zach's playing in Chicago. Let's go to explore Chicago, or Zach's playing in Atlanta. Let's go to Atlanta for the weekend. So it was just
Zach Brown is a perfect answer for you then.
yeah. So
And you need to sit, we should make this happen. Separate from the show. Like, this is
right. So I would probably definitely pick him just because like, and even like after his concerts, like we'll look up his music and we'll like read his lyrics and we're like, why do you think he wrote this, or did someone else write this, and why did they write this, and is it actually about their lives, and like.
I'm
I think
not
it's-
the judge.
yeah.
There's a borderline obsession, but that's
Yeah.
it's a good thing. Good thing to be into. Is
We
music.
come, his style's changed a little bit in the last few years. So the last few concerts, the last concert we went to, I think it was right when him and his wife were getting divorced, and we're like, that was rough. Like you could like, he was like, it was.
His music didn't become better.
It changed a bit.
Maybe darker.
It was a little darker. It was
Yeah.
deep. Yeah.
Yeah, I like an artist that's been tormented.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. What would you eat?
Well,
You must know what food he likes.
I have no idea what
No
food he
idea.
likes. I know. We have no idea what food he likes actually.
Okay.
He's from the South, so probably southern. So I love food, but I don't necessarily care what I eat. Like we could go to dinner, I could be like, just order for me. Like
Really?
people who know me well enough they're gonna pick what I like. Yeah, like there's
That's
times.
adventurous.
Yeah, like there's times like a group of us will go to dinner and we're like, you can just order today. And then we'll just order and share everything. Because then we don't have to make a decision and just eat one thing.
I am a sharer.
So then
that's the only way I'll go. You can't even be my friend and go to a restaurant with me if you're not willing
Right.
to split.
And then if we're on vacation and stuff, our theory is if we all go and we share, so we get,
You try 6 things instead of.
well, and then if there's 4 of us and we get 2 meals and an appetizer, we can eat all 3 meals. Because if you eat too much, you can only eat like twice. So then we can eat more places if we share because we eat less.
We can be friends.
Yeah.
That is how I operate too.
Yeah.
It's like when I travel with people who operate like that, so that we can try everything. I'm only here for 4 days. You can only eat so many times in 4 days.
Yeah, and I don't want to pick one thing. So you get this, and you get this, and I get this. We all share, and we had 3 things.
Do you have a favorite food? Like a favorite?
No.
No.
No, I don't think you do. Yeah. And I mean, and during the week, like I eat to be like nourished. Like I could eat a grilled cheese and a salad every day. I really don't care. Like I said, I love good food, but like, yeah. But I would probably pick Schwartz's. So previous to my credit union career, I worked at Schwartz's. Like they asked me if I wanted to work last week, so I still work there,
Oh, okay.
even if I really don't. And I would probably pick that because I mean, kind of similar to like eating around our grandma's table. Like Schwartz's is home to me. Like when I go to Schwartz's, I want to go in the back door. Because when you go to someone's house and it's your home, you don't go in the front door. You go in the back door. So I'm always like, when I go as like a patron, like it takes all it is for me to walk in the front door. And they're like, just come in the back then. Like you want to walk? We don't care. Walk to the back.
Yeah. What do you order there? Everything.
We share things.
We share.
We share things.
Yeah.
We
And
typically do
will-
every time we go together.
Yeah.
We'll share something.
I will say, I went with a friend one time and she ordered the ribeye. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Because I'd always got like the tenderloin or sirloin tips, which is fantastic. And she got the ribeye and I was eating and I was like, and I've worked there. I started when I was 16. So I've worked there for like 20 plus years. And this probably was only 5 years ago. And all of a sudden I was eating the ribeye. I was like, holy moly, I get why people come back with a steak. Like it took me 15 years to be like, I get why people come back with a steak. Because it was that good.
Oh.
So we usually share the ribeye and the grilled shrimp.
Yep.
Okay. So you kind of stick to your.
And now Kinsley, my oldest daughter, is starting to get into the sharing part too.
Yeah.
So, and Adeline too, the youngest one too. We kind of.
It took me years to get my husband to understand why this was the only way I would.
Yeah.
He'd like order spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like I make spaghetti at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's.
Yeah.
Get adventurous.
Yeah, so she can come to my saffron dinner.
Oh, perfect.
It would-
Perfect. And where it will be a southern feast of malt.
No, we'd probably go to Schwartz's. Like if he's coming to the Midwest, he's getting a steak.
True, there
Yeah.
you go.
I mean-
when in Rome.
Yeah.
Zach is not coming here for dinner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love where we went with that.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's fun. Well, that's all the personal questions I have, and then I'll do like different organizational questions, which we spoke about a little bit. But awesome. Hi, April. Thanks for sticking around and doing this part of the interview. I don't know which organization we're going to talk about or which event because you do a lot of things.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
So I work for the city as an administrative assistant, and then I also run the pool. Last summer was my first summer.
Mhm.
I am a Girl Scout leader and the troop organizer for New Holstein, so trying to bring Girl Scouts a little bit more back to New Holstein.
Okay.
And then I also started the concert in the park for this coming up summer.
So many things.
So many things.
What do we want to talk about?
We can start with the pool.
Okay, great. When does it open?
June 5th, Saturday, June 5th.
Okay. And is
So-
anything different this year or?
It'll be different from last year.
Yeah,
Obviously,
everything.
because
I hope,
yeah.
yeah.
Last year we had a really reduced capacity. So this year it won't be. It might be reduced, but not as reduced because the CDC and state department that governs us is releasing guidelines. They released them in the beginning of March.
Mhm.
I mean, are they going to hold true to June? Because things are always changing. I don't know, but hoping for swimming lessons. Slides will be open swim. All the like more normal concession stand will be open.
Okay.
So more like past years, not 2020, but past years.
My kid is turning 4 this year, so I'm new at this. How do you get involved in like swimming lessons or passes or things like
Yeah,
that?
so you can just either call the city clerk's office or come to the city clerk's office, and any one of us there can help you either find out where you think your child would be comfortable, what level they would be comfortable in, if they've done swimming lessons before or somewhere else. And so for swimming lessons, you can call, and then you can send in your payment. For passes, it's easier to come to the window, but then passes are also available at the pool after we open too. So
Okay, cool,
yeah.
cool. What was next?
Well, so we are still looking for lifeguards too.
Oh.
So if there's
yeah.
anybody that's interested in becoming a lifeguard, we can put together another class, and always looking for lifeguards because there's a national shortage of them right now. So
Really?
yeah, throughout, I think everywhere.
I feel like that's what everybody did in high school, right?
Yeah.
You were a lifeguard during the summer.
Right. So
Oh, man. So how do you, same application process would be calling or?
yep, call City Hall and we'll get you everything figured out with where to sign up for the class and all that stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Concert in the park? Do you wanna
Concert in the
talk
park.
about
Yeah, definitely.
that?
So we have 3 different bands or musical performances this summer. One in June, July, and August.
Okay.
The first one is the Spicy Thai Band.
Okay.
And then Aaron Scott, he was on one of the seasons of The Voice.
Cool.
He's from Wisconsin, so thought, why not? And then, of course, Jerry Schneider in August. So
And those dates are on the city calendar?
not quite yet,
Okay.
but they will be
Yeah.
shortly. There, a thing is going out in the newsletter for our May newsletter with the dates and stuff.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah.
But this is preemptive too. The library is starting to work on a community calendar, so I've been
Fantastic.
following the city calendar to
Yeah.
get some of those things on. So
Yeah,
hopefully all the events will be in one place.
nice. That'll be fantastic.
So what made you decide to move forward with doing that?
I've always just liked, I had a community. Like that's, I mean, we grew up with being part of the community. So like the other ones have it, and there was talk about it at some meetings or something, and I'm like, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, why not, right?
I
So
love that attitude.
you know,
I can do that.
I asked Casey about it and
Yeah.
talked to the mayor briefly about it, and then I just went with it. So
Yeah. So are those funded, like, is there an entry fee?
nope. So it is sponsored by local businesses.
Fabulous.
Yep. So all of our sponsors will be, you'll at the end, or you know when it starts, we'll put something out to show thank you all of our sponsors. And
That
yeah.
is so cool. What
Yeah.
time are they?
Spicy Thai is like at 7 to 9, and the other 2 are 6 to 8. Just because with getting later in summer, it gets darker a little bit earlier. So
Right.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
I'm excited about that.
I'm excited about that because
Yeah.
I agree with what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
About that bandstand.
Yeah, it's
Just-
beautiful.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And the park is beautiful.
Yeah,
So,
it is. And there's plenty of area for people to spread out,
Mhm.
area for kids to play. It just kind of that park has something for everybody.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that building too, I've been blown away with. I
Yeah.
thought if I wasn't already married, I'd get married in this
Mhm.
building. It's so,
there's quite a few weddings
light.
that happen there.
yeah, I just am surprised there's not more.
Yeah,
And it's not
I
like
am
a
too.
venue, a
Mhm.
popular venue. In fact, I feel like now I'm plugging that as a venue. But it's so affordable and it's beautiful.
It
and
is.
You just really do a lot in this space. So.
Yeah, you can.
Anyway, I'm so glad that you moved forward with the concert in the park is what it's going to be called, the series.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
And then
Or music in the park. Music in the park. Yep.
Music in the park.
Yep.
Sorry, couldn't get that.
Forgot my own name.
I forgot my name on this show.
It
I'll do the
happens.
wrong thing. Awesome. Is there any other organizational stuff that you wanted to talk about, plug, promote, stuff that's coming up?
I do Girl Scouts
Girl
too.
Scouts?
So, I know we just did our bridging ceremony last night for my brownie troop, which it's just neat to see the girls like become friends because in their classrooms now they're in with just their kids in the class.
Sure.
So this way they get to meet other friends and it's neat to see those little friendships form and Girl Scouts is all girl led. So the ideas they come up with, even at first and third grade or the ones troops that I have, it's neat to see them and just their little minds work and
Totally.
when we ask them, well, what do you want to do in the community and the things that they want to do, it's like, you guys have such great big ideas. I hope you can just carry that through forever.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, fun.
yeah.
How do people get involved in Girl Scouts? Like if somebody wants to sign up?
So we are part of the Girl Scouts of Manitou. They're located in Sheboygan, but it spreads through, I think, part of Calumet, Fond du Lac, and Sheboygan County. So it's a fairly large council. So on their website, there's a join spot, but then we always send a flyer home in the beginning of the school year too. And then we hold Girl Scout registration. Either we've done it here before, we've done it at the chalet. So it's one day where you can come and sign up, or you can join online too. So, but
That's cool.
yeah, it's
I
fun.
think Girl Scouts has come a long way. When I was in Girl Scouts, and maybe it's just like community to community. I was in it 30 years ago, maybe, I don't even know. And the only one I really remember is earning the shopping badge.
Nice. Yep.
And it felt so like, this is what we're doing then.
Yep.
So, but it's awesome to have like an identity in that. I know Boy Scouts really feels like that too.
Yeah.
Where like adults use that on resumes much later, that they've been involved in this organization and learn these skills in leadership
Yep.
and in community service.
Yep.
So
That's what,
Awesome.
I hope the girls remember me like I remember my Girl Scout leaders. I work with my Girl Scout, one of my leaders now, Paula, and the utilities was my Girl Scout leader.
I think that would have been a very different leader than
So,
mine.
Yeah, so like I remember Girl Scouts quite a bit, so I'm hoping the girls that are in our troops have,
Yeah.
that same.
And you're meeting again now?
Here we are. All this year we met in person. We just, if there was a girl that was in quarantine, she just didn't come that week. We meet twice a month and,
Cool.
yeah, it worked out really well. We never didn't meet because of COVID, so
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
it was good.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, and thank you for like I said, when you started talking about your family, I realized all of the ways that you're so connected to this community. I see your name attached to so many things.
Yeah.
I work with you right across the street, never knew who your sister was. I'm embarrassed, but I'm new. I'm 5 years new. So
Yeah,
thank you for all the things that you do in this
Thank you.
community and for being here.
yeah, thank you.
Yes, of course. Have a good one.
You too.
Hi, I'm Amy, coming to you from the children's section / new area over here. You'll have to come in and check it out. It's pretty exciting. Although bathrooms aren't quite open yet because we're waiting for doors. So I wanted to highlight 2 books that I found on the 2020 Goodreads Choice Awards for Best Fiction. Normally I talk about the kids' books, but these 2 inspired me so much I thought I should talk about big people books. So this is a book called Transcending Kingdom by Ya Jessie. She also wrote this one called Homegoing in 2017. This one is, I don't know, it was inspiring, and she found a way to weave so many things into one story that religion and family and love, mental health, neuroscience, all in one story. And it is semi-autobiographical, but it's still considered a work of fiction. And then we also have Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. He's a Swedish writer. His debut might be familiar to some of you. It's called A Man Called Uva, and it also has a movie, but this is his most recent one, just came out like late last year. And it's about like the interconnectedness of people, a botched bank robbery actually, which turns into a hostage situation at an apartment open house. I won't give too much away though. And we see inside the lives and minds of all of the characters. So like I said, I was inspired by them, and I hope you are too. Have a good day.
I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. I'm going down to the library.